Right, thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it, and John, thank you for getting this organised, and everyone else who came along. I appreciate you making the effort. It's not the best of times to travel, I know, but I appreciate it. Now, as you know, we're here to talk about direct democracy, but all part of that, the most important part tonight, obviously for us all, is block vote. The aim to develop our understanding of it and to tweak it and play with it and to give Richard feedback. Now, Richard's driven up, as I was saying to some of you, from London today. He's got to get back tonight. So I wanted him to go through his stuff first, okay, and then we can gather around and talk about tactics and other things after. But as you understand, Richard's worked at CERN. He's an AI expert, and he's developed this pretty much on his own, with using his own funding to get support in, to get people to develop BlockVote with him. So it's an effort on behalf of people, okay? This is a family thing, you might say, looking after his future and his family, same as most of us are doing, I'm sure, for the same reason. So I'll just let Richard give a brief explanation of his background and also why he's developed BlockVote and what he thinks we can do with it. And you will then obviously have a fuller understanding of how Richard operates and why this platform is so unusual. And I'll just say one thing. Richard spoke to some fella who I'd put him in touch with, courtesy of John here. This fella has had a lot of senior positions within organisations in the government. And when he heard about this, and he spoke here to Richard, he said, this thing is bigger than the internet, okay? That's what we're talking about. Because BlockVote's going to empower everyone using this system to vote simply and securely and better than any other government platform. So on that note, I'll pass it on to Richard, who developed this for us.
Well, hello everyone. Thank you for hosting me tonight. Sorry I don't have more time to stay around. So a little bit about my background. I'm an engineer. I've been an engineer for, I think, the best part of, well, since I was 12, something like that, working on computers many years ago as a child. I've stayed with it ever since. And I went from CERN, that's true, and then from there through to banking and finance in London and Switzerland, working on the trading desks and other things. I think, I came to the end of that journey fairly recently and thought to myself, really, what can I do for my family as I saw the political outcomes over my lifetime kind of diverging from what you would expect for ordinary families. So everybody's getting poorer and nothing seems to be going the way that I thought it might do in a democracy. And I guess I came to one point where I thought, why is that? What is going wrong with the system if that's the case? And after some thought, it brought me to this concept of direct democracy, where you can vote for issues rather than people. And simply put, if you're in the current system, you get 12 votes from the age of, what is it now, 18 to the age of 80. So what can you really decide with that? That's the first thing. And then you get to choose between two parties that are constantly letting us down. So as a project, I built a concept, and that turned into BlockVote, which is, really speaking, a very simple, focused voting app that's there for one reason, and that's to enable direct democracy in England and actually around the world. So I guess it's probably worth pausing a minute and to look at why I built it, because you can vote on Twitter, you can vote in a normal election, you can vote on Instagram probably, and the answer to that comes down to trust. One of my skills was blockchain, and the fundamental position of blockchain is to solve that issue. It's there, not so that you trust it, it's there so that you don't have to trust it, so you can build trustless systems. So if you could imagine what a vote would look like on, say, Facebook or other platform, somebody would type in the vote, you would have a poll. Very quickly that poll would give you a solution and answer to the question. But with all centralized systems and these platforms, the data is stored in a database, and that database is in a company. There's somebody there with the passwords to change that number. You have to trust the people that own it. You have to trust their business model. You have to trust all the people that work there. And then, you know, you have to trust that there's no interference from outside agencies with regard to the vote. And you can see it even in governmental elections. I think if you look to America, where lorry loads of votes are arriving or disappearing or whatever it was out there, you know, and here with postal votes and other things, it seems that all of the options that we have rely on us trusting somebody else to do this fairly. And it's just not working. So the difference with Blocvote is that it's built on a blockchain, and a blockchain is a decentralized system. You can see it like a data store where everybody who participates in it, who votes in it, has a copy of the entire system themselves. It has another property, and that is that when data is stored on the blockchain, it can never be changed, not by me, not by Blocvote or the government or anybody else. It's a permanent record of a transaction that's shared amongst everybody that participates in the system. And the third property it has is that it's open, which means that people can build tools to look at the transactions. They can see what's been going on, and nobody can hide anything. It's not a database in a dark room somewhere. It's an open public record of account that everybody can have a copy of. And that's the difference. So when you vote on blockchain, in fact, when you vote on Blocvote, you create a transaction on the blockchain, and that registers anonymously your vote. And that's written there forever, and nobody can change that. When it comes to, you know, the vote counting, how do you count the vote? How do you see what the results are? That's done by something called a smart contract. And a smart contract is really just a computer program. It's a set of rules and instructions that say, if you voted yes, you increment yes. If you vote no, you vote no. But the difference is that that's also stored on the blockchain. And what that means is that people who understand that can go look at it, they can check the code, they can check the transactions, and they can see that everything is open, correct, and publicly verifiable. And that makes a real difference, I think, in this world, because you don't have to rely on somebody else for trust. It's essentially a trustless system. What I'll do first, I think, is I'll create a vote and show how we can create a vote on the platform. And then I'll log in as a new account and show you how a voter would register and go through the process of using it. And hopefully, if we get that far, then also vote on the issue that we've created. So, if you give me a second. Right, so here we go, traffic lights. So the first thing that it does is it doesn't store passwords. We don't manage passwords on people's behalf. Yeah, I can't remember them either. But it's not just that, it's so that there's nothing there for people to hack in our database. So it sends you out a code, which you then enter to log in or sign up. It's the same process. And it comes in and lands on the pages for votes that you haven't taken part in yet. So you can choose your partner in whichever area they're in, and then their votes will be available here for you to scroll through.
Could you speak up just a little bit, please, Richard?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so the strategy for rolling out to the independent candidates, if you want to create votes on the platform, is that we're completely independent as a tech. We provide the tech that you need to ask the questions, but we're politically independent from everybody we work with. And once you've got your account set up, it will give you the ability here to manage votes on the platform. And you can see the votes that you've published and then drop in there and see the outcomes later. But here we have the ability to create a vote, and at the moment, it's a very simple question, a summary of the issue at hand, but it gives you the ability to add a link to any documentation or websites that can enrich the question if you want to direct people to more information. So if we go with this, the question should be a simple yes or no answer, and then we can drop into an AI and ask it to summarize trophy hunting. And this should give us a description of what trophy hunting is.
That's the AI's answer, yeah?
Yeah. No, that's it. I've asked it to describe what trophy hunting is, so I don't have to describe it myself. And then you just put that in here and format it nicely. It's important, I think, at this point to know that the question that can't be leading. It can't lead to any conclusion or another, and the summary has to be unbiased and present a reasonable depiction of what the issue that people are voting on is. And then you can drop a link if you need to drop it. And that's it. That's all you need to do. When you continue, I've wired it up to an artificial intelligence, as ChatGPT actually, and basically asked it to say, can you make sure that this statement is unbiased and not leading? And it gives you some feedback underneath. And in the feedback, it will come to a conclusion that it's neutral or not. Now, at the moment, you can just ignore it. I had to make a call on whether I trust the people that work with the platform more than I trust a couple of guys in Silicon Valley. So clearly I came to trust the people on the platform. But I think in future iterations of the platform, the opinion from the AI could be displayed next to the vote. It could give it a health warning, if it's really unbiased, really unfair, really leading question. But I guess I'm waiting to see at this point whether that's something which is going to result in a better outcome in terms of neutrality. Anyhow, to create the vote, you just click continue. And you have a draft vote. The next stage is to come and publish it. You can edit it if you like and come back to it, or delete it. But when you come to publish, you can choose to be, this is the test platform, you can choose to publish the vote as an organisation if you're part of one, or as an independent candidate or as a person. And based on your choice, you get a scope of where you live, and you can choose from the wards, constituencies, all the way up to the United Kingdom and the planet, if you wish to do it. Choose a closing date for the vote, which could be in a couple of days' time, and click publish. And that's the bit I won't do just now, because it is, I don't want it going out live on the internet. But that's the end of the process. When you click publish, that particular issue that you've raised will be available to everybody in the UK who wants to come in and log in and express their opinion. The votes look like this. This is one I made for Blocvote as a test. Simply, should ULOC's zones be abolished? And you come in, you get the chance to vote no or vote yes, You have the summary that you entered here, and it tells you roughly when it's closing and what zone it's available in. And if you've given a link, then you can the user can come through, click the link, and go off to the information on the web somewhere. And that's as simple as I could make it. Now, at the bottom here, you can see partners. Now, these are probably these are our independent political partners that we want to work with. It could be you guys, it could be any organisation you could think of. But it could also be a union, it could be a housing association or a school governors board. It could be any collective of people governed by an area. You can go into the partner and read about them. We publish their Twitter, their email. The principle really is that we don't want to stand in between you and the voters. The idea is that we connect you guys together so that if they want to get directly in contact with you, they can, and not through the platform, standing in between. Probably one thing worth mentioning is that on this page you get, on the partners page, you get a chance to connect with these different groups. So the green plug is when you've connected with someone. When you do that, you're sharing your email with that partner and basically saying, I'm happy for them to get in touch with me outside of the app. And as a partner, you can come in here and see the connections that have been made with you and export them into a file. So the functionality that we've built is as basic as we could possibly conceive of, ready to build the things on top of that you might stumble into if you choose to use the app in future. It's a good starting point for us to grow something out. So probably now what I'll do is I'll go through it from a voter's perspective, how to sign up on the app and get started. So let's imagine an email address. So the system hasn't seen this email address before. So when you log in for the first time on a device, Blocvote selects that as your master device. This is where your account is registered. Let's enter the code again. And it would guide you into enter your basic account details. So it would need a name, it would need a postcode, DA8, I don't know, 4NQ, maybe that would work. And of course the last stage is to verify that you actually are in possession of those details. So to do that, you would upload an image of a document, maybe a driving license that has your postcode and your address and postcode and your name. I'm just going to use this for now. So I upload that. What's happening at this point then is that it's notifying me through chat that somebody's registered to vote and they want a KYC request. So I have the ability to come in as myself and approve or disapprove of that request. Of course, if I disapprove of it, it sends them a message and they can upload another document. I'll just show you that. So now I'm logging back in as the administrator, which is me. And I'm showing you this. I think this is one of the more important parts of this system, so you can get an idea of how it works. So I get to see, or Blocvote get to see the document here, and the name and address, and I can get to reject that if the details don't match or I accept them. Let's just say it's a driving license into the system. And at that point, it takes a while because the blockchain itself is quite slow. So at that point, when they log in next, they should be able to take part in all the votes and have their opinion, and that's all there is to it. To give you an example of the voting, should ULEZ zones be abolished? Well, I think so. So I'm just going to click yes for that one.
Did you load up a for side link and an against one, or just the one link?
It's one link, and I think that's a good point. I mean, it could be a link to anything. So it could be a YouTube channel, it could be a government thing. The idea, I guess, originally was that it provides more information about what they're voting for, not necessarily making the case either way.
Yeah.
I mean, all of the chat you might expect in an app like this, all of the commenting that could be done against the votes, all of the social engagement, we chose not to do that because we don't want to be the publisher of those things, but we didn't want to be the medium of debate, which we could change. Theoretically speaking, we wanted to just provide the service that we were designed to do, and do that as well as we can, rather than take part in the debate, the discussion, the discourse.
Thank you.